You're getting into Flutter, right? Awesome. You're in exactly the right place. Think of this as your express ticket to understanding the core Dart concepts you absolutely need to know to start building amazing apps. So let's just dive right in.
Okay, here's the game plan. We're going to start at square one with your very first program. Then we'll get into how to store data and give our app a brain with control flow. After that, we'll see how to keep our code clean with functions and classes, and then we'll wrap up with two of Dart's biggest superpowers, its type system and how it handles tasks that take time.
All right, first things first. Every great journey starts with a single step, and in programming, that step is almost always saying hello to the world. Let's do this.
Okay, take a look at this. This little snippet of code, this is the heart of every single Dart app. That main function is the official entry point. It's the very first thing that gets run. And that print function, that's going to be your best friend for checking what's going on inside your code. Simple, right? But everything starts here.
All right, we printed something to the screen. Now, how do we actually make our programs, do something? That's where we need to store information and make decisions. Let's talk variables and control flow.
So, what exactly is a variable? Well, think of it like a labeled box where you can store a piece of information. But here's the really cool part about Dart. It has something called type inference. When you use the keyword var, Dart is smart enough to figure out what kind of data you're storing all on its own. It's super convenient.
And you can see that right here. We've got a string of text for the name, a number for the year, and a whole list of strings for the flyby objects. And notice something? We never had to tell Dart what they were. We just used var, and Dart handled the rest. It keeps your code so much cleaner.
Okay, so storing data is one thing, but making decisions based on that data, that's where the magic happens. We can use a totally standard if-else statement to check a condition, and if we want to do something for every single item in a list, we use a for loop. These are the basic building blocks for all the logic in your Flutter apps.
So as your code gets bigger and bigger, you're going to notice you're writing the same lines over and over. That's not great. It's messy and hard to maintain. And that's exactly what functions are for. They let us bundle up a piece of logic and give it a name so we can use it again and again.
Let's take a classic example to see how this works. This function promises to give back an int, or an integer. Its name is Fibonacci, and it takes in one piece of information, an integer we're calling n. Everything inside those curly braces is the job it performs. It's a super clean way to package up work.
Now you're going to see this a lot in Flutter code, so let's check it out. See that little arrow? That's just a super handy shortcut. If your function only does one single thing, you can use this fat arrow syntax to make it shorter. It keeps things really compact and easy to read.
All right, I need you to lean in for this next part, because honestly, this is the absolute core of Flutter development. You have to understand this. Why? Because everything in Flutter, a button, a screen, a piece of text, it's all something called a widget. And a widget, well, it's just a special kind of Dart class.
The best way to think about a class is like a blueprint for a house. The blueprint itself isn't a house, right? It just defines the structure. You use that blueprint to build actual houses. It's the same thing here. A class is the plan, and you use it to create objects, which are the real things your app works with.
So check out this spacecraft class. This is our blueprint. It says that every spacecraft will have properties like a name and a launch date. This spacecraft parenthesis thing is called the constructor. That's how we build a new spacecraft object. And describing is a method, which is just a function that belongs to the class. It's something a spacecraft can do. This diagram here does a great job of showing another key idea, inheritance. You can have a general animal class and then create more specific classes like cat or lion that get all the animal features for free, plus their own special ones. This is exactly how Flutter works. You take a generic widget and extend it to make your own custom button.
Okay, so we've got inheritance, but Dart has another tool called mixins, and the trick is knowing when to use each one. You use extends for an is-a relationship. An orbiter is a spacecraft. But you use a mixin with a with keyword to add some extra capabilities. You can only extend one class, but you can mix in as many capabilities as you want.
Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite things about Dart, safety. Dart's type system is like having a super smart assistant who's constantly checking your work for a whole category of common mistakes, and it catches them before you even run your app. It's amazing.
And the star of that whole system is something called sound null safety. Now, that might sound complicated, but the idea is actually super simple. A variable can't be null unless you say so. If you've ever had your app crash with the dreaded null pointer exception, yeah, this feature is for you. It's a total game changer.
So you might be wondering, well, what if I need something to be null sometimes? Easy. You just add a question mark to the type. Look at this diagram. A string, question mark, isn't just a string. It's a box that can hold one of two things, either a real string or null. And the compiler then forces you to check what's inside before you use it. No more surprises.
So, what are the big takeaways here? It's simple, really. By default, nothing can be null. If you need it to be, you add a question mark. The result? The compiler becomes your best friend, catching potential crashes while you're still typing, which means your final app is way more stable.
All right, our last topic is a huge one for any real-world app. I'm talking about doing stuff that takes time, like fetching data from the internet, reading a big file, or waiting for an animation to finish.
Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine your app needs to download a big image from a server. If you just tell it to go download this and wait, the entire app just freezes. The user can't scroll, they can't tap buttons, nothing. It feels broken. That's a terrible user experience, right? And this is Dart's super elegant solution, async and await. You just mark a function as async, and then you can use the await keyword inside it. Await basically tells the app, hey, this next part might take a second. Don't freeze up. Go handle user input and other stuff and just come back here when this is finished. It's that simple, and it keeps your app feeling smooth and responsive.
And just like that, we've covered the essentials. Think about it. We went from writing Hello World to understanding variables, functions, and the classes that are the bedrock of Flutter. We even tackled Dart's amazing safety features and how to keep your app responsive with async code. You've got the core toolkit now.
So there you have it. You've got the core building blocks. You understand the language that powers all those beautiful, high-performance Flutter apps. The theory is done. The only question left is, what are you going to build with it?